Kasich, Senior National Advisor and co-chair of the New Hampshire campaign, Tom Rath joins us from Manchester. Nice to see you today, Tom.
Thank you, Contessa. Thanks for having me.
How much is riding on the New Hampshire primary today for John Kasich?
Well, it's a pretty substantial amount. We put a lot of time and a lot of the candidates' energy in here, our most precious resource. We think we're going to do quite well. It would be a good story to tell going forward. Something short of a good story to tell is going to be hard for us to take. But right now we're prepared to come out of here very positive.
Can you get specific about what performing well looks like to the campaign?
No, and I'm not trying to be cute here. I'm never accused of being cute, but we really can't until we see where everybody lines up. I mean, if we're third, that sounds good. If we're third, 15 points behind number two, that's not so good. We could be fifth, but if that's within 3 or 4 points or the margin of error of number two, it's a different story. So you really have to see how the votes shake up, who demonstrates some momentum coming out of this. And as you've seen, there's been polls all week long, up and down, and people moving, and then they get stuck, and then something will happen in a debate or something, and that'll change it. As I went around to polling places today, I thought the voters were very glad to finally have it in their hands, not and tell you what they're going to do, not have the pundits tell them what they're going to do.
Dixville Notch, a tiny, itty-bitty little New Hampshire town, went in and started voting at midnight. Tom Kasich came out 3-2 over Donald Trump there. Is that an auspicious start?
Well, that's 60%. Trump's only at 30% statewide, so clearly we have a juggernaut in the offing here.
12 voters, by the way.
Well, it's a great tradition up there, and it kind of captures the flavor of what New Hampshire's like.
But do you think that you're going to see that replicated in other cities and
I will
towns?
tell you, I think, and I don't have the exact number here, Dixville Notch has been uncannily accurate in picking the nominee. And I think if you go back quite a way, they've almost always come out on the side of the person who eventually gets the nomination.
I know that we're focusing on New Hampshire today, but I want to ask you about South Carolina. Not only is it important for momentum and for news headlines and for free media going into the next contest in South Carolina, but just to get on the debate stage, CBS News has made a requirement that the candidates must receive a minimum of 3% in the Iowa, New Hampshire results or national polls. There's a lot riding on this. How important is it at this stage of the game to be on the debate stage?
Well, under those standards, we'll be on the stage because we're clearly going to get more than 3%. I think sometimes we overdo the importance of debates. They're important. I think the one the other night was important, but not always for what you do. It's sometimes for what you don't do. But it's also hard, if you're not on that stage, to be relevant. I think part of our fight here has to demonstrate that we're relevant to this discussion. I think we're going to do that tonight. But it's very easy to write somebody out of the story because the polling numbers don't come through. So I think that being on the stage and then performing well is really a function of being able to demonstrate public support.
Tom, in that pack that is fighting to be the second place finisher in New Hampshire, what we've seen is that some of the other candidates have been willing to turn their attack sights on Marco Rubio. Again, he was the surprising third place finisher in Iowa, but had come so close to Donald Trump. And we're seeing now, especially Jeb Bush and Chris Christie turning their sights on Marco Rubio. Do you think that it's an effective strategy to go after anyone but the front runner?
Well, we haven't gone against anybody, including the front runner. We've run a positive campaign, and I think voters want that. We've had some of that negativity directed at us by both Governor Christie and Governor Bush, and it's part of the game. But what I hear, especially in this state, is a desire to say what you're for, not what you're against, not to cherry pick a guy's record from 15 or 18 years ago and say that, oh, therefore he is, he's a really bad man. That's part of the way we do politics today. It's not one of the better parts of why we do politics today. By
the way, we're watching the video right now of Governor Kasich pouring coffee at that diner in New Hampshire this morning. Well, he's got some skills.
He loves this stuff. He's really taken to New Hampshire. I'm sometimes afraid he's not going to leave because he likes it so much and he knows everybody by their first name. He's really been a good fit. Sometimes candidates aren't a good fit for this kind of intense retail. They come from big states. They do a lot of TV politics. They don't really get down and shake hands and stuff. It's not been John Kasich's problem.
Well, why
We've done
would-
106 town meetings. He really likes it.
I don't know why you'd want to leave. I mean, having spent a large chunk of my childhood in neighboring Maine, I think that, there is something about New England that calls to you. And if you can win over New Englanders, boy, you have something special. Tom, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Good luck to you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.